right? But the facts of the matter disagree with that, okay? Another thing that is very important, we like to blame the white man for everything, okay? But the only problem with that is that if we have done something wrong, we won't take responsibility for the things that we've done. So today, I'm going to talk about a few things that we done, right? First of all, let's define, when I say the black man is God, I mean, excuse me, the black woman is God, what do I mean? Because people say God is a masculine word, right? Okay. When we deal with the etymology of the word God, right? The word God comes from the Germanic word Gott, G-O-T-T, which comes from the pre-Germanic word G-U-T-H-A-N, Guthen, right? And as we trace that down to High German, we come to the word Gut, G-H-U-T. Now, in the word G-H-U-T, it has a trilateral root, which is H-U-T, Hut. And you can trace that to the Sanskrit word Hutta. Now, the word Hut is a borrowed word from Kemet. It is synonymous with the word nut, okay? But now the root of the word is U, which is the primordial waters of Nu, same word. Hu and Nu is the same. The word, the H and the N is interchangeable. But we can trace the word further and we go to the Greek, and in the Greek we find the word king, K-H-E-I-N, and we also find the word kut, K-H-U-T-E. Now that word means to pour over a burial mound. I wish I could show you some of the slides, but how many people know what a burial mound is? When you look at the burial mound, you'll understand what the concept or the ideal of what our ancestors were trying to convey. Mostly when you look at a burial mound, it's a big mound of earth, and directly in the middle, they have a slit. The concept of that is that you came from the womb of the woman, and to the womb you shall return. So our ancestors made a big ordeal out of burial, because the whole idea was to mummify you, right, and prepare you to go back to that which you came from. Now when you deal with the word mummy, real quick, the word mummy comes from the word mumia. It means earth. It means mother. And hence the word mummy became the word mommy. So this is the reason why our ancestors mummified, because it was a big ordeal. You come from the womb, and into the womb you shall return. Right? Now, the word kut, we can trace the word kut all the way to ancient Kemet. And northern lower Kemet, we can trace that word. And that word is associated with the goddess Aset. It's also associated with the star system Sirius. Okay? So the word God derives from a feminine word. So when I say the black woman is God, it's factual, because the word God derives from a feminine word. So then the argument becomes, well, you know, the ancestors had a word that denoted gods and goddesses. But when you look at the English lexicon, the word goddess doesn't even come on the scene until 1350 AD. Now we're talking about something that's dealing with BC, right? So most people say, or when I had the debate, they were saying that the netter, how many people know what the sign of the netter is? Raise your hand. Well, the netter is a pole, and some people are saying it's a flag. I say it's an axe. And so when you look in the, when you look at the Pert in Haru, you'll never find the netter next to any men or women. You always find the netter alone, by itself. So, and you also have the arm when you look at the hieroglyphs or the metal letter, you'll find the arm, and the arm is the individualization of the letter. And when you have the word neteru, you have 3, for sake of argument, flagpoles. Okay? Now, so people are saying that the word neter-et is feminine and the word neter is masculine. It's not true. Because the word neter denotes nature. And when we deal with nature, all of nature is feminine. As a matter of fact, everyone has an aura. And your aura is egg-shaped. It's shaped like an egg. Okay? The nucleus of a sperm cell is shaped like an egg. Testicles are shaped like an egg. The planet Earth is not completely round. It's what's called an oblate spheroid, which is shaped like an egg. The planets are traveling on its axis, and it's not traveling in a complete circle. It is traveling egg-shaped. As a matter of fact, the sun is even shaped like an egg. So if these things are shaped like an egg, what does that tell you about the thing that created it? Huh? Okay. Now, I want to go into, now that we got through that, I want to talk about how this, number one, let me just add on to something the brother was talking about. Because a lot of people are saying, well, if the woman is God, there's no balance in that. You know what I mean? How can one be greater than the other? Now, I'm telling you that no man is equal to a woman. That is virtually impossible. No man is biologically equal to a woman. Now, I can prove that very easily. I had a debate on it. I won the debate. I proved this. And it seems to be that people are still, they don't get the concept. Okay? But, so again, they say everything has a duality. And I don't want to make anyone wrong, but according to how I studied it, duality does not exist. It only exists in the reality of the Trinity. Our ancestors did not teach duality. They taught Trinity. Because everything has a right and a left. Everything has male and female, up and down. So everything points to center. In order to have left, you have to have and. You see? Now, and is what is called a fulcrum point. You see? Now, they say, well, natural Tahuti, what about yin and yang? That's okay, what about it? Yin and yang does not exist and it does not work if you don't have Zen. What is Zen? That's the part you can't see. So what balances man and woman is when you are balanced in the part that you can't see, what is called the spirit. So that means you have to invoke what is within you in order for the balance to take place. Because man and woman is not equal. It's virtually impossible. That's a lie. But what makes us equal is that which we came from, which we call neter. Check? Check. All right. So now that we got past that, I want to talk to you about, real quick, historical. All right, here we go. Again, it's so easy for us to blame Europeans for the condition that we got into. But I want to ask everyone here a very intelligent question. If we are the gods and goddesses, if we built pyramids, we built mounds, and all of this great, terrific stuff that we did, how the hell did we let Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles come from out of the caves of Europe, right? Having sex with animals, couldn't read or write, and come and take our glory from us? How did that happen? Huh? So, there is a part about her story that is not being told. Before there were race wars and class wars, the first wars were gender. Now, a lot of people are going to get mad with me over this one too. The first human factional wars were gender. And the first groups to engage in these warfares were Africans. level of power was spiritual, economic, and political. Africans possessing the highest level of spiritual, magical, and mystical power and knowledge for centuries through their ambiguous tutelary and clan gods often competed and waged bitter spiritual wars with one another. We had petty little wars with one another. You have Africans that have alpine features, straight noses, silky hair, and then you have Africans that have broad features. We fought over those things. We fought over, that's why when you read the cosmology of Kemet, you can have conflicting stories because every region had its own story. In one of the stories of ancient Kemet, you find the story of Asar, Aset, and Heru, right? You find that Aset is the wife and the sister of Asar. But when you go back to an older version of the story, you will find that Aset is Asar's mother. You see? We don't bring those in, we don't talk about that information. The oldest before ancient Kemet, and anybody, I challenge you on this, the oldest representation of God was the Great Mother. There was a time there was no such thing as a male god. When we go back to even the Venus of Willendorf, over 30,000 years old, we can go back to the bird goddess of pre-dynastic Egypt, right? Where they talked about the cosmic egg. There was no such thing as a masculine god. You see? So there some good research on the topic. I would like, if you want to take your pens out and write down the names of these books, you can go and do the research yourself. One of the books that I like that I'm studying is called Mami Wata. Mami Wata, the scholar's name is Mama Zagbe. And Mama Zagbe is teaching the ancient Vudam, which is the oldest spiritual system on the planet. Okay? But let's get further into what happened and how we got into this situation. Okay. Now, these divine wars began as one between competing clan gods and soon escalated beyond what the gods had originally intended. This is how the divine African mother was overthrown, and this took place in ancient Egypt. Historians of Egypt, when describing Egypt's rise as a global and military power, often assume an amicable joining of Upper and Lower Egypt under King Menes, hailing this event as the greatest political achievement in Egyptian history. This monumental event, the claim began the golden age of military conquest and global expansion and the unchallenged rule of Egypt's patriarchal pharaohs. According to most, it established Egypt's enviable position as a legitimate world power. However, this is the view of history from the patriarchs. It is not the view of history from the matriarch. Okay? Upon closer examination, we see that this amicable joining might not have been such a crowning achievement in Egypt's history at all, but rather the opposite. Okay? In spite of Egypt's patriarchal military might, the kings and pharaoh of Egypt still had to capitulate to the conquered and declining matriarchs from whom they must still claim their divine blood and spiritual inheritance. It was the law of the land that all inheritance was through the mother, because you can trace your lineal heritage through your mother. And we know that to be a fact today because we know about mitochondrial DNA. Although man has mitochondrial DNA, he can't pass it off. Only the woman can pass it off. So you have nuclear DNA and you have mitochondrial DNA. Now the nuclear DNA is like, it gives off information for stuff that just recently happened. That's the information that it passes off to the seed. But the mitochondrial DNA, passes off your ancestral information. It takes it back to the first mother. Okay? Okay, now, this inescapable fact, as well as her exclusive sacerdotalial authority and political influence in the world, generated much jealousy, envy, and resentments toward them. So much that it alleged that 1,000 years later, as matriarchal rule gave way to new waves of patriarchal revolt, the powerful priesthood of Amun, right, in Canaan, and the clans of Horus boldly dared to do something that they had never done before. And that was, they went and started to destroy the temples of the Great Mother. This was African men who went and began to destroy the holy temples of the Great Mother. Okay? I want you to let that soak in for a minute. And this took place in Thebes. Now, they then invaded and usurped the major Sibyl temples in Libya and Ethiopia. Sibyl, let's deal with that word. The Sibyls, I want you to go back and do some research on this. The Sibyls are the original prophetess. The so-called prophets of the Bible and the Quran, that's all plagiarized. The Old Testament, all of the prophecies, that's all plagiarized. Because really there's no such thing as a Hebrew people. Because the Hebrew language, first of all, is AD, right? And it all came out of ancient Kemet. So there is no real Hebrew people who wrote down some prophecies. These prophecies came from what was called the Sibyls. The Sibyls were the ancient African priestess who were expelled from out of Egypt. They went down into Libya, they went into Ethiopia, they went over into Asia Minor, Turkey, what is called Anatolia. They also built the Crete civilization. They went to the now Grecian islands called Argo. They went into Messenia. And from there, they began to rebuild their temples. And from here, they are all over the planet Earth. Even in America, you had on the islands of what is called Borinquen, right? On the islands of Borinquen, the Taino Indians, they were worshiping the Great Mother under the name of Atabey, A-T-A-B-E-Y, Atabey. See, so all over the planet, matriarchy rule was the rule. Now the problem is, we think that matriarchy and patriarchy is the opposite of each other. It's not true. Oh, thank you. Go by that.
I'm going to give you a chair. I'm going to give you a chair so you stop walking around so much.
Oh, okay. But patriarchy and matriarchy is not the same. Because when the women were in rulership, they didn't try to oppress men. You see? They didn't try to do that. Women do what they have always done. That all they want from their man is for you to love them, protect them, and honor them. Right? Check? Yes. That's right. Yes. That's all they wanted. Okay? But it's a fact that the women were here much longer on this planet than men. As a matter of fact, women was on this planet over 200,000 years before we got here. You see? And she still has the latent capability to produce life without males. Now, let me stop. I am not promoting women without men. That's not what I'm doing. Listen, knowing that the black woman is God, you know how great that makes me feel? That means I got the best mother on the planet. Huh? I got the best lover. My woman, the black woman, is the best woman on the planet. My woman the black woman is the best woman on the planet. You can't get one better than that. Now the white woman, she can try to compete. She puts some what they call that, Botox in her lips, plastic in her tits, and silly putty in her booty, right? But she still can't compete to the black woman. But now, black woman, I want you to also know there is no better man on the planet than the black man. So don't take this knowledge and go home and tell your husband, yeah, Dr. Tahuti said the black woman is God, right? Don't do that. Don't do that, because we need each other. And especially right now, we are at war, right? And even if you don't believe this information that I'm giving you, because all you got to do is research it, even if you don't believe it, get with this frequency. You know why? Because we got to start thinking like the Europeans. They are thinking in terms of 100 years. You know why they build up all these prison houses? Because they're going to put your grandchildren in them. They're going to put your great-great-grandchildren in them. They're thinking in terms of hundreds of years. You see? So how are we going to defeat, listen, your religion, your metaphysics, your history, your Kemet, your Yoruba, throw it all away if it's not going to help you to dismantle white supremacy.
That's right. Amen. That's right, brother.
Just throw it away. Because there's only one reason why you have incarnated in this particular day and time. The only reason you have incarnated in this particular day and time is to dismantle white supremacy. That's the only reason. The reason you're here is to get some more information to help you dismantle white supremacy set up in your mind, right? And white supremacy set up around your kind. So why and how is this information, because that's one of the questions they always ask me. Well, how is knowing that the black woman is God going to help us get out of this economical crisis and all of this stuff going on and kids dying all over the world? I'll tell you, because we got to be mathematicians. And when you deal with this science, and when you begin to raise up our women, what you think going to come upside of them? We won't be producing no more little Bow Wows. We won't be producing no more Snoop Doggy Dogs and Tyler Perrys, right? We want to produce the kinds of people that come out and say, I'm a Moor, right? I'm RBG, right? I'm Black Power. I'm a revolutionary. You see? And so how do we do that? The women, you have the power to do this. You have the power to do this. Because you can choose the kind of men that you want to get with. Right? Instead of you getting with a thug for love, get you an RPG. Right? Instead of you getting with a pimp and a player, get you with a Moor. Get you a scientist. Get you a mathematician. You see? So that you will be thinking on the frequency of bringing good stock into the planet. Because like begets like. All farmers know that you have to produce good stock and take care of your plantation in order to produce good stock. And it's the same thing when we're dealing with life. The same thing. So we want to begin to start thinking in terms of 100 years. So the women, okay, start researching this. You can pick up the book, Mami Wata. There's also The Cosmic Great Mother. You got Reverend Ishaka Musa Belashanga. He wrote a book called The African Woman, The Original Guardian Angels. You have When the Woman Was God. Okay? Now, for some of the scientific stuff, one of the good books for you to read is called Virgin Birth by Hilton Hotimo. And there's also a book out by Raymond Bernard called The Mysteries of Reproduction. Okay? There's also another good book that is called The Physical Enigma of the Woman. Now, The Physical Enigma of the Woman is a very great book because it's going to teach you and tell you about how women have also degenerated. Because of the subjugation of men through religion, women are suffering from leukorrhea. They're suffering, their wombs are suffering from this hemorrhage because it is not a natural occurrence for women to hemorrhage through their womb. The ovulation of the egg, that should happen. But because of the stress and all of the subjugation of the woman, the foods that we're eating, women are suffering in their wombs by hemorrhaging. Now, when you start eating natural food again, and you stay on that regimen, and you also bring the frequency of your mind up, you're going to start menstruating less and less. You're going to start hemorrhaging less and less and less. Okay? This is one of the reasons why women are not having parthenogenetic babies these days. It still happens though. Fact. There is something called arenoblastomata and teratoma tumors. This happens. A dermoid cyst, write that down. Dermoid cyst, D-E-R-O-I-D. Dermoid, something like that. Dermoid cyst, okay? And what happens is, when they cut these tumors open, you know what they find? They find teeth, they find vertebrae, they find umbilical cords, they find skulls, they find feet, they find, yo, listen, almost whole bodies. And I got photographs of it. Women can have these cysts on different parts of their body. And what these are undeveloped children. They are undeveloped fetuses. Okay? And this can happen because of blood alkalinity. Once the blood alkalines, the woman can produce children on her own. Because in ancient Kemet, ancient Greece, ancient Crete, we had whole temples dedicated to divine birth. Okay? And lastly on that subject, what it is that the woman has these strange vestigial organs that are synonymous with the seminiferous tubules of male testicles. And they can produce living spermatozoa from these organs. This happens. Women produce it now. While men might have one orgasm, a woman can have multiple orgasms. And some women are shooters. And in that, women will shoot sperm. This is a fact. This is a fact. And all you got to do is do the research on it. So again, before I leave, those were a few books that I gave for you, put out there for you to check out. It's very important for us to begin. We're living now in the age of the return of Kali. We're living in the age of the return of the Great Mother. The age of Aquarius is the age of the return of the Mother. Stop looking at European zodiac signs and go look at the zodiac sign in Dendora. When you look at the zodiac sign in Dendora, you will see that Aquarius is a woman, not a man. And then, because the Aquarian is pouring the water, so the water is symbolic to the womb or the sack of water that you was birthed in. So with that, I want to say peace and black power. Black power.
Give Brother Matthew Tahuti a round of applause. Come on, come on, come on. I know you can stand up, folks. It's all right. He's a fellow player like me, or he's vibrating on another level. He's vibrating on mooks, actually, in the Kemetic philosophy. I'm vibrating on Amun Ray. According to Polite's book, man, we broke it. You got to get that book, man. So, Brother Polite, make sure you show him that book where you got the breakdowns of the zodiac in your book. Yeah, make him get that book. I know he got that money. He rich. You know, he one of the rich people. Give Madison Tahuti a round of applause, man. This brother here. We're going to do some work with this brother. He's going to be coming out with his book soon. I got some ideas I got written down for him. Definitely got to make sure this brother writes something on come out. Or you got to be like Dr. Blair. Just come out with tapes and DVDs and audio. That's all.